what I was saying was, I found with piercings, it's like if I didn't have so much self-esteem with a certain feature, like let's say my nose, I felt like getting it pierced definitely gave me more confidence in the way that it looks.
Hi friends, today with Melissa here. She's a part of our Avanti community, and I'm excited to hear all that she's got to say about body modification and self-expression. But before we go anywhere into my questions, why don't we start by hearing a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm 20, and I actually live with my cat and my dad, as well as my brother. My brother actually came back from the army. Not too long ago, actually, either. It was like a little bit earlier last year. He came back from the army. I am actually looking for a job, which is really hard to do right now.
Yeah.
Especially with the pandemic. So it's been a little bit tough trying to find a job and still try to step out of my comfort zone because I struggle a lot with anxiety. So.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I also am an anxious person, and so I get, like, even these interviews, I've done like 100 of them, and I'm like, oh, I'm so anxious.
You stay indoors for so long now, and it's like, it's more detrimental than anything. I mean, I need to work on my social skills, and that's how it helps me with my anxiety, is because, I mean, I'm socially very anxious, you know? Because I tend to overthink things so easily.
Which, isn't necessarily a weakness. What I found is that overthinking just tends to be, you tend to be more cautious and more thorough than if you're less anxious. You're not like less prepared, but anxious people are a little bit more prepared for what if scenarios than.
Oh, yes. Because
you're out of them.
Yeah, I'm always told that I overthink things, where it's like you're putting way too much thought in it, or, to stop overthinking it. And it's like, I've kind of gone as far as to thinking to myself that I'm not overthinking it. I'm like, that's just what I do. I just kind of accepted it that it's me, but it can be good and bad.
Yeah. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your piercing? So you have your septum pierced, and it looks like you have a vertical labret.
Do, yes.
Nice. So I guess I have a lot of questions. My first question is, what was your first piercing?
It would be my earlobes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that. So when I was much younger, I wanted my ears done because, there was a heavy influence of lots of girls getting their earlobes pierced. And I just always liked that, just a little, like, something sparkly on the ear. I thought it was very pretty and very delicate. And so I went to Claire's, shall I mention, and got those pierced with a piercing gun. And I had some complications with that. It was very odd. So, like, obviously they're cleaner for one, really stings because they put alcohol in it. And I was like, it shouldn't be like stinging this much. Then also, what would happen is the hole was migrating. And my mom scared me bad as a child. She was like, you need to take them out. They might rip, because they were coming down so low.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And so I had them done a second time, and the same thing happened. So then, probably when I was about 16, I went and actually got them professionally done by a piercer, and everything went fine, and it hurts less getting it done with an actual needle. And I even had them pierced at 12 gauge, and it didn't hurt as bad, so.
Yeah. The piercing, I had my ears pierced with guns too, as most people do, I think.
Yeah.
And the experience healing those was way worse than anything I've been pierced with a needle. Even my piercings that weren't successful were still less painful healing than the ones done with the gun.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's just because they're taking a blunt object and the blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're taking the earring, jamming it through your ear, and it's just not very safe once you take that into consideration. It's like, it's as if you were to pierce your own ear at home. Those needles are not going to be as sharp that you would like to use. Like, let's say somebody uses a safety pin. Well, that's not nearly as sharp as a sterilized needle that's made for piercing through the skin.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't even sterilize a piercing gun. Even if it's one of those disposable ones, it's still not sterile. So the risk of infection is increased. Whereas with the needle, as long as everyone's following the correct steps, it's, you know, as sterile as it can possibly be, not in a surgical environment. So when you got your ears pierced, did it change anything about you internally, or did you just have sparkly earlobes, or did it like spark this need to get more piercings?
I had always, even before I had gotten my ears pierced, I definitely wanted more piercings. I had an interest in it, you know. It was definitely a very aesthetic interest. And then when I started getting piercings, I actually realized to myself how it makes me feel more confident with the features that I have with my body. So I, you know, for me, I felt like what I was saying was, I found with piercings, it's like if I didn't have so much self-esteem with a certain feature, like let's say my nose, I felt like getting it pierced definitely gave me more confidence in the way that it looks.
Yeah.
Therefore, I wouldn't be so inclined to actually go and get a modification that would change my body drastically. Piercings are not as permanent, so I just felt like it's definitely, for me, I feel like it's the better route to go.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, sometimes people, I don't want to discredit anyone who has made further modifications because those were right for them and their body. But for someone who isn't ready, or it's more of an internal struggle than an external struggle, it's definitely been something, like for me personally, you know, to be able to be like, okay, I actually didn't really like this part of my body at all, and I hated it, and now I'm going to draw attention to it with a sparkly thing, and it makes me love it, which
seems counterintuitive, but it's
yeah,
it really does. I don't know, I swear by it. Like, it's really true. You would think, like, because for me, I have my septum pierced, and I still love my septum piercing. Sometimes I take it out because some days I'm just like, yeah, I don't really want to rock that. But I've thought about getting my nostril pierced again, but I'm like, I don't know, I just don't like the sides of my nose very much, because I have a very witch nose. But it's like, it might make me enjoy my nose more, you know?
Well, and a lot of that is an internal struggle for you. Like, I look at your nose and I'm like, oh my gosh, you could rock some beautiful jewelry on your nose, you know, especially like those more statement pieces.
Yeah.
You have a nose that is unique to be able to, you know, rock that kind of jewelry where other people might not, you know, and I think it would look absolutely stunning on you. But also, it's your choice.
Right. It's one of those things that it's subjective. It's everybody's personal taste to it.
Yeah. Well, I like the jewelry that you have. I especially like the oversized captive bead ring. I think that looks so cool. And it like offsets your glasses just perfectly. So if someone were, I guess, what was, first off, how old were you when you got your septum pierced?
I think I was 14.
You were 14? What was it? Did you get it pierced in Oregon?
I actually got it pierced in Washington, believe it or not.
Okay. I was like, how was that with your parents? Were they accepting of it? Were they like not?
My mom was not keen on it. She didn't really, she didn't really like it, but it was after I believe it was after I had my nostril pierced, and that didn't go too well because had a mishap with a bird and ripped it out. And then I was like, I can't put the jewelry back in. It's way too sour. And then it fell out when I did put some jewelry back in because it was too small of a gauge and it fell out and then it shut. But my mom was, she wasn't very accepting of it, and I tried to tell her that, you know, I can flip it up, which is one of the things you can do with a septum piercing. Once, you would be able to do that once it's healed, more so. But yeah. I just gave her that option that I could flip it up if she had wanted me to. I actually wrote a paper to her, too, as to why, as to why I'm like, I want this piercing. So, there was some light to it where I think she did understand. I think it was because she wasn't ready to accept that I was changing, you know. She felt like it was going to be very permanent, and piercings are not as permanent as people think, you know.
Yeah.
It was just because I was still very young. And I remember looking back at pictures and I'm like, maybe I did get it pretty young because I was still in middle school. So.
That's awesome. My parents would have freaked out. I had to write a paper to my dad when I was 16 to get my nose pierced. And ever since then, it just hasn't stopped. But
yeah.
What about your lip piercing? What was that like?
So I got that before my brother's birthday when I was like about 16. Before my brother's birthday, and I showed up to my brother's birthday party at Big Al's, and my dad was like, "What is that?" And my dad is more conservative than my mom. See, I usually have an easier time with asking or telling my mom than I do my dad. And just the scrutiny with my dad can be hard sometimes. But at this point in my life, they know that I'm like this, you know, that this is kind of how I am. I embrace the alternative style, and I like that sort of thing. You know, I have that niche for it, but back then, you know, I was still, I was coloring my hair too, so it's like I definitely eased into it. I was in that kind of scene phase, so it's like they knew that I was like this, but piercings was just like the next level, and I'm sure they felt a bit, you know, like a bit uneasy over that.
Yeah, well, it's hard, you know, when there's a stigma associated with modification, and then I honestly think a lot of it has nothing to do with the stigma with modification, and it has everything to do with the fact that their child is growing up.
Absolutely. I think it's more so that, yeah.
Because, like, my mom will be like, oh, I like that piercing on so-and-so, but not on you, Jess. And I'm like, it's because I'm a kid.
It's because it's personal, you know. It's personal to them because, you know, they birthed you, they raised you, you know, and they see that you have piercings, and they're just like, I don't know what to think about that, you know. I agree with that as well.
If you were to do anything in your life, you know, career-wise or like vocation, so like your life goal, like entwined in this job, what would it be?
One thing I have planned for sure is I want to do something in special education.
Oh, cool.
I just really, really do. And I would love to incorporate art with it because I really would like to be doing more art than I do now.
Yeah, like art therapy or?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking is art therapy.
Very cool.
I don't have any skills in that, but I feel like it'd be really nice. I had an internship where I was, I did create like some art projects for a special education program at my high school. And I was an intern there and I really enjoyed it. And I was just kind of like, I would even enjoy it more if I got to do this for longer.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I'm assuming you've graduated high school?
I did, yes.
I was like, I don't know. You look kind of young. So are you about to start college, or are you already in college, or?
I've thought about it. I always second guess myself, and I'm very reluctant. You know, I take a lot of time considering an option and stuff like that. I just don't have enough money to go to college. And then with the situation that we're in right now, even community college, I just don't have enough money to go. And I've considered it. I've even gotten into the process of enrolling, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't have enough money. And then with the whole pandemic of COVID-19, you know, public schools are not open right now. You know, they closed for the rest of the school year, and I was like, I wouldn't be able to do it. I need to physically go to a place, go to school, get myself out of bed, because that's just how my motivation runs. I can't sit at home and work on the computer, or else I wouldn't graduate. I put myself in the shoes of like other people and think about the situations that they're in. If they're struggling, you know, let's say they don't have Wi-Fi at home, they don't have a computer, you know, they're low income, they don't have transportation, you know, it's like how are they going to be motivated to work on to work on schoolwork at home on a computer, do it online? It's like, I wouldn't have that motivation. I probably would have dropped out in result of COVID-19. I'm just like, I don't think I would have graduated.
Yeah, well, and you know, everyone's learning style is different too. You know,
It is.
I did online school, but it was because I did better following like my own tune kind of a thing versus
it's not uniform. Yeah,
and then when I was in structured class, I just didn't really thrive at all because I'd get distracted.
For me, I need to be pushed. Like I need to have somebody help push me. I can't do my own thing, but it does help for somebody to be like, come on, let's get on with it.
You know? Going.
Yeah. That's why I was in an alternative education program, and that really, really saved me. So
cool. Is that what led you to, you know, want to help other people who learn differently?
Honestly, yeah, a lot of it too. And I really, really liked my teachers as well. My school was actually like one of the first that had basically created that program and in that style as well. So what it is you work on packets that go towards credits and stuff like that. But then you have one day where you will stay in the classroom to work on packets. And then every other day of the school week, you go out to your internships.
Oh, okay. That's
so cool. It's really applying a lot of actual work skills.
Yeah, so you're not just head knowledge, like you're actually life knowledge.
Yeah, you can definitely work in a professional setting. You know, you get to experience that and apply that, not just be told, this is what you should be doing.
Only to find out that it's not what you needed to know at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I had a lot of...
Do you think... Pardon me?
I had a lot of internships as well, so...
That's super cool. And the special education was your favorite one?
Yeah, it was.
That's super cool. Do you think that your experience being modified and interacting with people as someone who, you know, as someone who is modified myself, I found that it's like a barrier to people and I almost have to win them over with my personality before they can accept me physically. Do you think that has prepared you for this, you know, life dream of helping other people, you know, shine from the inside out?
I do, yeah.
Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, like I feel with my internship, I'd get questions about my piercings a lot of the time. And, you know, I try not to how do I put it into words? I don't really talk about my piercings in hoping that they would understand. I just definitely be myself, you know.
Yeah.
Let my personality do the talking rather than actually just go and talk about my piercings, because my piercings are personal to me. You know, some people are curious enough to want to know more about it, and I'm more than willing, and I love to spread knowledge if people desire to hear about it. So
that's cool. Yeah, I feel the same way about mine. You know, everything that I've had done had some sort of meaning to me, whether it was like I needed to accept a certain part of my body or I needed to accept my physical self and like, you know, make a stand like, this is who I am, this is me. It definitely changes your perspective, I think, on like, I don't know, I used to work in a restaurant and I would have like older gentlemen, like one guy even grabbed my arm and he was like, this is permanent, do you know? And I was like, yes, can you unleash me, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely changes the way that you perceive other people, I think, because like I know I want to be seen for me, not for my physical appearance, and so I tend to see other people as a reflection of that for who they are and not their physical appearance. Have you noticed anything similar, or is it more of like a separate, like, this is who I am and then everyone outside of that is a little bit different?
I've always been the type of person to accept people for their personality rather than looks. I've always been geared in that sense, in many aspects as well. I do feel like some people just have a hard time accepting, and it depends upon age group too.
Yes,
definitely age group. I feel like with some of the students that I was working with in that internship, they were around my age, so they were definitely very accepting. I've worked with lots of different age groups, so I feel like it's definitely knowing your surroundings and just certain people's attitudes as well. Just, it really depends upon age group.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think where you're at, you know, I've been in some places where I've been treated like with distrust, you know?
Yeah.
I look too crazy. And then I've been other places where I would actually not fit in if I had like regular colored hair.
Yeah. I mean, Portland is definitely known for being out there, you know?
Yes. Which I love.
Yeah. Some people don't like it, and then some people do. And then, I don't know, the people that just come here to just put it down, I mean, come on. So I want to know who started Keep Portland Weird.
I do too. That's true. So when this pandemic is all over, are you going to get another piercing, you think?
I really want to, actually.
What do you think?
I've been really thinking about getting my Medusa done.
Oh, do it! I had mine pierced. It's one that I ended up having to remove location-wise. It wasn't like the piercing itself. I had it pierced a little bit too much to the right, so it wasn't perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I think that would look so great on you.
Yeah, I have a lot of space up here, and I just feel like the anatomy would be really lovely for it. So.
Yeah, that's what I had too. Because some people have a very short philtrum, is what this part of your body is called. Yeah,
exactly.
But I had a larger one, so I actually got to put like a really big, like a 10 millimeter piece there, and it was my favorite. Oh, I'm so excited for you.
I've even seen double philtrum piercings, and if somebody has like a lot of space on their upper lip on their philtrum, it just looks really nice. You know, having a larger piece and then a smaller piece on top as well. It's just, I just like the symmetry and the structure of piercings, and especially on certain like faces or body types, seeing a certain piercing and how the jewelry just complements it. It could be color, the size of the bead, you know, lots of different things. And it just makes somebody's face like really, really beautiful.
It does. Yeah. Piercings are just, first off, they're sparkly, whether it's a gem or it's just metal, it's just shiny. Yeah. And it's fun. I don't know. I love everything about it. And I also like that it's temporary, you know, it's like you can rock it for a little bit, and if you change your mind, then you're really only left with a small scar versus, you know, like tattoos, where if you get a tattoo, that's there forever, which I also like about tattoos, but you know, it's different. Like there's more flexibility with piercings, which is great for anyone who is anxious and has a hard time making decisions like me.
Yes. Yeah. It's great. It's great for those people, definitely.
You're like,
Yeah, it's true.
So before I let you go and enjoy the rest of what has turned out to be a beautiful day in Oregon, what advice would you give to someone who is afraid to get pierced but really wants to?
Don't think too hard about it. I mean, I'm not going to say just go out and do it, but, have knowledge about it, definitely. That'll help your decision immensely. It's just having knowledge about what to use to clean it, what jewelry you're going to wear, and like daily wear. How is that going to affect you? You don't want to have a piercing get tugged on and stuff like that. Just take a lot of things into consideration, I think is great. But other than that, I mean, piercings are really lovely, Just do it. Just do it. If you take it into consideration,
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Melissa, for sharing your heart, for sharing your perspective on piercing. It was great chatting with you, and I'm excited when this is all over so we can hopefully pierce your Medusa.
Yeah.
All right, well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.